All right, so get ready for a deep dive into Theosophy. You've given us excerpts from a modern revival of ancient wisdom, and I'm already sensing this is going to be a wild ride. We're talking ancient mysteries, hidden dimensions, and maybe even a few spiritual superpowers along the way.
Yeah, it's definitely a system of thought that pushes the boundaries of what we think we know about ourselves and the universe.
Yeah.
But Theosophy isn't just a modern invention, though. It's
Yeah.
actually tapping into something ancient, a lineage of esoteric wisdom that stretches back centuries.
Okay, so we're not talking about some new age fad here.
Yeah.
This is about rediscovering something lost or hidden.
Yeah.
Right. But what exactly is Theosophy trying to unlock?
Think of it as a grand puzzle, where the pieces are scattered across ancient myths, religions, and philosophies from all over the world. Theosophists see themselves as clavigera, literally key bearers. They believe they hold the keys to understanding the hidden meaning behind these ancient traditions.
So, like, they're not just taking the Bible or Greek myths at face value.
Right.
There's a deeper layer they're trying to decode.
Exactly. They believe these stories and symbols point to a more profound, esoteric truth that's been obscured over time. It's like there's a secret code embedded within the world's spiritual traditions, and they're trying to crack it.
Okay, I'm hooked. Give me an example. What's one of those stories that gets the Theosophists going?
Well, the book mentions a pretty mind-blowing anecdote
No.
about the Countess Pashkov and Madame Blavatsky, one of Theosophy's founders. They were in the desert, and Blavatsky allegedly summoned the spirit of a priest from a nearby monument. The spirit then revealed the entire history of the monument and showed them visions of the past. Whoa, hold on. Summon a spirit? That sounds a lot like a seance. Weren't the early Theosophists also involved in spiritualism? That whole Victorian craze of talking to the dead?
You're picking up on a key point here. Theosophy did emerge from the spiritualist movement, but it took a very different turn. While spiritualists were focused on contacting spirits, Blavatsky became increasingly skeptical. She wasn't convinced that the entities communicating were who they claimed to be. So she wasn't dismissing the possibility of spirits altogether. It was more about the accuracy of the information.
Precisely. Blavatsky believed that true spiritualism was about cultivating the divine spirit within yourself, not just chatting with ghosts. It's about tapping into your own hidden potential. In fact, she has this memorable quote, "Spiritualism in the hands of an adept becomes magic." She's hinting at the potential for higher powers within Theosophy.
Okay, magic. Now I'm really intrigued. So if it's not about contacting spirits, what takes center stage in Theosophy? What's the main event?
Theosophy introduces the concept of the Mahatmas, the masters of wisdom and compassion. They're believed to guide humanity's spiritual evolution.
Wait, Mahatmas. Who are they exactly? Are we talking gods, angels, or something else entirely?
They're not gods,
Yeah.
but they're definitely not your average humans either. The Mahatmas are described as highly evolved beings who have mastered the laws of nature and the hidden forces of life. Imagine a group of spiritual superhumans who've reached peak enlightenment.
Okay, spiritual superhumans. I like the sound of that. But how do they fit into the whole Theosophy picture? Do they just, like, hang out on a mountaintop somewhere, meditating?
That's where it gets even more fascinating. Theosophists believe that the founding of the Theosophical Society itself was orchestrated by these Mahatmas. And get this, they even communicated with early Theosophists through letters.
Letters from spiritual masters. That's a story I need to hear more about. Were they writing about their grocery lists? Or was it a bit more profound than that?
Let's just say these weren't your average how's the weather kind of letters. They were packed with teachings on everything from cosmology and evolution to the nature of reality and the development of higher consciousness.
So a cosmic crash course delivered straight to your mailbox. That's pretty convenient. Do we know what these Mahatmas looked like? What they were into? Or is it all very mysterious and shrouded in secrecy?
Well, there's a fascinating story about A.P. Sinnett, a British journalist who was one of the main recipients of these letters. He was in India and eager for some concrete proof of the Mahatmas' powers. So he asked one of them, a Mahatma known as K.H., to materialize a copy of the London Times newspaper right then and there.
I mean, if you're going to ask for a miracle, might as well go big, right? I can see how that would be pretty convincing. Did KH deliver?
He actually refused. Cage said materializing the newspaper would be too disruptive to the world's understanding of science and faith. He basically said humanity wasn't ready for that kind of mind-blowing revelation.
Wow, talk about a missed opportunity for some serious headlines. But it does make you wonder, what else is out there that we're not ready for? It's like they're holding back the good stuff until we've passed some kind of cosmic test.
That's a question Theosophy definitely makes you ponder. Are we ready for a reality that might shatter everything we think we know?
So we've got these key bearers uncovering hidden truths, a shift from talking to ghosts to unlocking inner potential, and these mysterious Mahatmas dropping wisdom bombs through letters. What else is there to know about Theosophy? Is it all about acquiring secret knowledge and
Yeah.
levitating objects?
It's definitely not just about accumulating knowledge or seeking paranormal powers. Theosophy has a strong ethical dimension. It's about living a life of compassion and service to humanity.
Right, it's not enough to just talk the talk. You got to walk the walk too. So what are the key ethical principles of Theosophy? Are we talking like 10 commandments for spiritual seekers?
The source material mentions a text called The Voice of the Silence, which outlines theosophical ethics. It emphasizes self-mastery, compassion, and the importance of right action. It's about aligning your actions with your higher self and contributing to the greater good.
So it's like level up your soul and make the world a better place. Sounds like a pretty ambitious to-do list. Are there any zingers from the Voice of the Silence that really drive this point home?
There's a powerful line that goes, "Inaction in a deed of mercy becomes an action in a deadly sin." It's a call to action, reminding us that we have a responsibility to act on our compassion and use our knowledge and abilities for the betterment of humanity.
Whoa, that's intense. It's like saying sitting on the sidelines while the world burns is basically siding with the bad guys. Definitely a thought-provoking idea.
Exactly. Theosophy emphasizes that we're not just passive observers in the universe. We have an active role to play in shaping a more just and compassionate world.
So we've covered a lot of ground already. We've got ancient wisdom, mysterious Mahatmas, and a call to ethical action. It's a lot to wrap my head around. I'm guessing there's even more to this story.
Oh, there's so much more to unpack.
Yeah.
We haven't even touched on the history of the Theosophical Society itself, the controversies, the internal struggles,
Yeah.
the unexpected twists and turns. It's a wild ride, believe me.
Okay, I'm ready for the next chapter. Bring on the drama. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of theosophical history. You mentioned controversies and twists and turns, so I'm guessing this isn't just a peaceful tale of spiritual enlightenment. What were some of the major shakeups that shaped the Theosophical Society?
Well, one of the biggest bombshells was the Judge case that exploded in 1895. It revolved around William Kuhn Judge, one of the early leaders of the American branch of the Theosophical Society.
Okay, Judge Case sounds serious. What was the core issue that caused all this drama?
At the heart of it were questions about the authenticity of the Mahatma letters. Remember those mysterious letters from the spiritual masters we were talking about? Some members accused Judge of forging letters from the Mahatmas, while others fiercely defended him.
Oh, wow. So we're back to the issue of proof and authenticity. I can imagine that would cause some serious rifts within the society, after all, if the foundation of your beliefs is based on communications from these hidden masters, and those communications are suddenly called into question. That's going to shake things up.
It definitely created a huge controversy and revealed some of the challenges inherent in dealing with occult phenomena.
Yeah.
How do you verify the legitimacy of something that exists beyond the realm of our normal senses?
Right. It's not like you can just carbon date a mystical message or run a background check on a Mahatma. So how did the Theosophical Society handle this whole Judge Case situation? Did they just sweep it under the rug, or did it lead to some major changes?
The Judge case was a major turning point, and it ultimately led to a split within the Theosophical Society, despite their emphasis on universal brotherhood and tolerance. Even Theosophists couldn't agree on whether these letters were the real deal or clever forgeries.
I guess even in a movement focused on spiritual enlightenment, human nature, with all its flaws and disagreements, still finds a way to creep in. So this split in the society, did it fracture the movement permanently?
The Judge case definitely created lasting divisions, but the Theosophical Society as a whole was surprisingly resilient. It didn't completely crumble under the weight of this controversy. There was still a shared commitment to the core principles of Theosophy, even amidst these disagreements.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So even with the Judge Case casting a shadow over the movement, Theosophy kept going. What happened next? Did new leaders emerge to guide the society in a new direction?
As the Theosophical Society moved into the 20th century, several prominent figures emerged, each with their own unique interpretation of theosophical teachings and a vision for the movement's future.
So it wasn't just one monolithic movement anymore. It was branching out in different directions, almost like a tree with multiple branches, each growing in its own way, but still connected to the same roots, who were some of these influential figures who took Theosophy in new directions.
One of the most prominent leaders was Annie Besant. She initially supported Judge, but later became a key figure in the Theosophical Society based in Adyar, India. Besant's approach emphasized the social and political aspects of Theosophy, advocating for women's rights and working towards Indian independence.
So for her, Theosophy wasn't just about personal spiritual development. It had real-world implications. It's like she was saying, okay, we've got these profound spiritual insights now. Let's use them to make the world a better place.
Exactly. Besant saw Theosophy as a force for positive social change. She believed that its principles of universal brotherhood and compassion could be applied to create a more just and equitable world.
That's a really inspiring perspective. It's easy to get lost in the metaphysical aspects of Theosophy, the hidden dimensions, the Mahatmas, the ancient mysteries. But it's important to remember that those insights are meant to be lived, to be expressed in the way we interact with the world and work towards a better future.
Absolutely. Theosophy isn't just an abstract philosophy. It's a call to action, an invitation to live our lives in alignment with our highest ideals and contribute to the well-being of all beings.
Okay, so Besant brought a social and political dimension to Theosophy. Were there other leaders who focused on different aspects of the teachings?
Another influential figure was Charles Webster Leadbeater, a close associate of Besant who was deeply involved in the Adyar Theosophical Society. He was known for his clairvoyant abilities and claimed to have direct insights into the hidden realms of existence.
Clairvoyant abilities. That sounds pretty far out. Was he like the theosophical version of a psychic detective, using his powers to uncover hidden truths about the universe?
You could say that Leadbeater's teachings resonated with many theosophists, particularly those fascinated by the more esoteric aspects of the tradition. He wrote extensively about his clairvoyant investigations, offering detailed descriptions of the astral plane, past lives, and the evolution of humanity.
Wait, hold on. The astral plane, what exactly is that? Is it like a spiritual dimension, another realm of reality that exists alongside our own?
In theosophical terms, the astral plane is a subtle realm of existence said to be accessible through heightened consciousness. It's described as a world of vibrant colors, subtle energies, and even encounters with disincarnate beings.
So Leadbeater was basically saying, I've been there, folks. I've seen it with my own clairvoyant eyes. And he shared those experiences to expand the theosophical understanding of the cosmos and the nature of reality.
Yes, Leadbeater's work helped to shape the direction of Theosophy, especially its exploration of hidden dimensions and the nature of consciousness. But it also generated controversy.
Controversy seems to be a recurring theme in theosophical history. It seems like every time the movement takes a step forward, there's a pushback, a debate, a split. What was it about Leadbeater's teachings that sparked disagreement?
Some of his teachings, particularly those relating to sexuality and his involvement in the development of Jiddu Krishnamurti as a potential world teacher, caused considerable tension within the society.
Jiddu Krishnamurti. Isn't he the famous spiritual teacher who eventually rejected organized religion and gurus? That's a pretty wild turn of events, going from a potential world teacher groomed by theosophists to denouncing the entire system.
It's a fascinating and complex story. Leadbeater and Besant believed that Krishnamurti was a highly evolved soul destined to bring about a spiritual awakening for humanity. They even formed an organization called the Order of the Star in the East to support his mission.
Wow. So theosophists were actively searching for a spiritual leader, someone to usher in a new era of enlightenment. It seems like there was a lot of anticipation and excitement surrounding Krishnamurti.
There was a palpable sense of hope and anticipation surrounding Krishnamurti, but in 1929 he dramatically dissolved the Order of the Star in the East and declared that truth is a pathless land and that each individual must find their own way without relying on external authorities or organizations.
That's quite a bold statement. It's like he was saying, thanks, but no thanks, I'm not your guru. You've got to figure this whole spirituality thing out for yourself.
It was a significant turning point in theosophical history. Krishnamurti's rejection of organized religion and gurus had a profound impact on the movement, forcing theosophists to re-examine their beliefs and grapple with the tension between individual spiritual exploration and the role of tradition and authority.
So here we have another example of that push and pull between the individual and the collective, the personal journey and the structured organization. It seems like a recurring theme in theosophical history. Despite all these challenges, controversies, and splits, the Theosophical Society managed to survive. What was its lasting legacy? What impact did it have on Western spirituality as a whole?
Despite all the internal struggles, the Theosophical Society played a crucial role in introducing Eastern spiritual concepts to the West. It helped to popularize ideas like reincarnation, karma, and the existence of hidden dimensions of reality. These ideas were once considered fringe or esoteric, but are now widely accepted and explored in various spiritual and New Age circles.
So Theosophy acted as a bridge between East and West, bringing ancient wisdom traditions into a modern context. It's fascinating how ideas that were once considered radical or even heretical can become mainstream over time.
Absolutely. The Theosophical Society challenged the dominance of materialism and opened up new avenues for spiritual inquiry, expanding the horizons of Western spirituality and offering alternative perspectives beyond traditional religious frameworks.
It's like they were saying, hey, there's a whole universe of spiritual possibilities out there. Don't limit yourself to what you've always been told.
Exactly. The Theosophical Society was a pioneer in its time, planting seeds of spiritual exploration that continue to grow and evolve today. And what's even more remarkable is that the Theosophical Society is still active today with branches all over the world.
Wow. It's amazing how this movement has endured despite all the challenges it faced. It's a testament to the power of these ideas and the dedication of its members. So we've covered a lot of ground here, from the founding of the Theosophical Society to the Judge case, the rise of Besson and Leadbeater, and the dramatic departure of Krishnamurti.
It's been quite a journey. We've witnessed the triumphs and tribulations of this fascinating movement and explored its enduring impact on Western spirituality. But I think there's still one more crucial question to address. What is the state of Theosophy today?
That's a great point. I'm dying to know, has Theosophy managed to shake off those old controversies? What does modern Theosophy look like? So we've traced Theosophy from its 19th century origins through all the drama and splits right up to the present day. But what does Theosophy look like now? Is it still about those original goals of occult study, universal brotherhood, and reviving ancient wisdom?
That's a great question. And the answer, as with most things theosophical, is it's complicated. The Theosophical Society today is like a kaleidoscope, diverse, multifaceted, with lots of different interpretations and practices.
So not quite the unified front it was back in Blavatsky's day.
Not exactly. Think of like the original Theosophical Society was like a seed. Over time, that seed has sprouted branches, each reaching in a slightly different direction. You've got different organizations and groups all drawing inspiration from those core theosophical ideas, but expressing them in unique ways.
Okay, I'm picturing this theosophical tree with all its branches. Can you give me some examples of the different flavors of theosophy that are out there today?
Well, you've got groups like the United Lodge of Theosophists, founded by Robert Crosby. They're like the purists, very focused on preserving the original teachings of Blavatsky, and judge think intense study of theosophical texts, lots of deep contemplation, a real emphasis on self-knowledge and inner transformation.
So they're carrying the torch, keeping that early flame of theosophy alive. But what about those who are looking for a more, shall we say, modern take on theosophy?
Oh, absolutely. There are groups that weave together theosophical ideas with New Age spirituality, psychology, even social activism. They're taking those core concepts of universal brotherhood, karma, reincarnation, and applying them to contemporary issues.
So theosophy is still evolving, adapting to the times. It's not just a dusty relic of the Victorian era. It's a living tradition.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so fascinating. There's a depth and richness to theosophical thought that you can explore on so many levels, whether you're a scholar, a mystic, an activist, or just someone curious about the big questions of life. There's probably a branch of theosophy that resonates with you.
I'm starting to understand why this deep dive has been so captivating. We've gone from summoning spirits in the desert to decoding ancient myths, from debating the authenticity of Mahatma letters to exploring the astral plane. It's like we've tumbled down a rabbit hole of spiritual exploration, and there's no telling where it might lead.
And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? Theosophy doesn't give you all the answers neatly tied up in a bow. It invites you to question, to explore, to delve into the mysteries of existence and find your own path.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into theosophy, what's the one key takeaway you hope our listener is left with? What's the essence of this whole journey?
I think the most important thing is to remember that theosophy at its heart is an invitation to awaken to our true nature and our interconnectedness with all beings. It's about recognizing the divine spark within ourselves and within everyone we encounter.
Beautifully said, and it reminds me of that powerful quote from The Voice of the Silence. Inaction in a deed of mercy becomes an action in a deadly sin. It's not enough to just ponder these profound ideas. We have to live them, express them in our actions, and contribute to making the world a more compassionate and just place.
Absolutely. Theosophy challenges us to not just be passive observers, but active participants in the unfolding story of humanity. It calls us to use our knowledge, our insights, our passions to make a difference.
So to our listener out there, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the mysteries of the universe. Who knows what hidden wisdom you might uncover?
And if this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, We invite you to delve further into the source material, explore those theosophical texts, and see where your own journey of discovery leads you.
That's it for this deep dive. We'll be back soon with another fascinating topic and another stack of sources to explore. Until then, happy exploring